Hey, folks, and hope everyone's doing well. Thank you for tuning in, and appreciate you watching and all the comments and everything. I'm learning a lot as I go too, which is the point, of course. And just love sharing and um, being able to share this sort of information. So, thanks again. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, um, and share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe if you haven't already. So it's much appreciated. So I wanted to visit a question real quick. Um, I've read about this question before, and I've talked. I remember like 2 or 3 years ago, I had a conversation with one of my friends, and we were talking about this exact same thing. So the question is: are we born good or born evil, or are we simply born with a capacity for those things, and then it develops from there? So are we like what are we? And I think it's an interesting question. And I was thinking about it. So I was revisiting that over the past couple of days. I wanted to share my thoughts on it. So, starting with the beginning, of course. So when we're born, that's the point of where we would have to start the analysis, of course. But there are some things to consider. For example, because we need a definitive starting point, right? So, and some people may, in other words, time of birth. But some people believe in reincarnation, for example. So it kind of depends on what your thoughts are as far as life before birth and that sort of thing. So personally, I'm going to be looking at it. My own belief is that we are here for the first time. There's one physical universe, and then there's like the afterlife or spiritual realms. And this is our first time in existence, which is kind of exciting. I don't believe that there is reincarnation in the physical universe. So that's the standpoint that I'm kind of developing it from, my own beliefs, if you will. So that being said, we are here for the first time as brand new infants. And to understand, really, to ask, are humans good or evil? We kind of have to define, what is a human being? Like, what are we exactly? So fundamentally, we are made of two things on a very basic dualistic level. We are physical and non-physical, and that kind of explains our existence. Our minds and our thoughts and our memories and our experiences create our soul as it develops. It is us. It is literally a very integral part of us, and that's our non-physical component of reality. And of course, then we have our bodies and everything, our physical parts of ourselves. And these two things work together, of course, so we can navigate the world and experience life. And that basically describes what we are at a very basic level. Now, as far as good versus evil, so what we have to kind of understand these things in how we experience that duality of good versus evil on a day-to-day basis. So being physical and non-physical, these two concepts would apply to both. In other words, so non-physically, our thoughts, which is our knowledge as it develops, and our minds and how we begin to perceive existence and reality and define things and understand them. So the non-physical component is the knowledge and also the experience that we gain as we grow older, and then this creates our view of how we engage and believe in things around us and interact with reality and existence. So the physical half of us is, of course, our body, and that has everything to do, like emotionally speaking. There's good emotions, positive things, love and joy and that sort of thing. Negative emotions like hate and that sort of thing. And of course, calm or peace, kind of somewhere in the middle, like the neutral zone, if you will. So we have this range of emotions, and this is how we also experience life. And this is very unique to the individual. So, and I think this speaks to how not just the human condition, but also the fact that we are born with the capacity for both. For example, because when we're young and when we're babies, we don't have knowledge or experience yet. So we're still displaying emotions, happiness or crying or that sort of thing. But we don't know what's going on. We're just kind of going with the flow. Excuse me. Kind of going with the moment and the flow of the moment. If we feel good, we're smiling and we're laughing, or we cry if we're hungry or something uncomfortable happens. So, and of course, these things become channeled and tempered and formed and defined as we grow older. So many of us laugh and smile at different things, and some of us may get upset at other things. So, and that speaks to the mental construct through experience and knowledge that we develop as we grow older, and how this connects to our emotions or the physical half of ourselves. And really the possibility of combinations is endless if you think about it. I mean, when we grow up, all of us have a favorite food, for example. We love to eat this, we hate to eat this. Some cultures, you're taught and raised to not eat meat, or others, certain kinds of meat. So some people love being vegetarian, some people love eating steak, and pork chops and that sort of thing, and you're raised that way. But you can also choose to make that difference, that change as well. And that speaks to our the concept of awareness and free will. So, at a certain point in your life, as you experience and gather knowledge, there comes a point where you start to make your own decisions, and then you decide on what is right or wrong for yourself, but also in the greater context of, like moral good and moral evil and that sort of thing. The capacity is there, and it's up to you to choose to do that. And these mental and emotional connections that we experience, we can change or not. And I'm not saying it's easy to change. That could be a difficult change too. But the possibility is there. And I think that speaks to how malleable the human condition is. And it's very empowering to say that, you can change something if you don't like it. If you're not happy with it, there's a way to address it or maybe process it and change it. Now, like for example, you may change your diet, for health reasons, and you stop eating meat, and you start to love this new lifestyle and new diet, and you start to hate the idea of eating meat. These things can develop later in life through new connections, through different choices that you make, and can change what was there before. So I know it's a very simple example, but it kind of, I think, helps illustrate the capacity for good, feeling good or feeling bad about something, and how that can change and be redefined. And that, of course, applies to the greater question, about being, are we good or evil? And I think the answer is simply, we're not born good, and we're not born evil. So we are born experiencing physicality until the non-physical thought constructs and knowledge come together to help define these connections for us. And it's based on the environment, what we're taught, and what we experience, and at a certain point we can learn to change that. So that being said, also too, things as we grow older, like we can, like when we're young, we may do stuff and may not realize it, so you could do something that's considered good or bad or evil or wonderful, and not even knowing what you did. So that's another, without that knowledge or, the awareness to be able to understand what you're doing, that's the experience of growing up. And again, it's different for everyone, but no one is born fundamentally good or evil. I think these things can be shaped and changed overall. And I think there's always extreme cases, of course, and I'm not saying there's a perfect solution for everything, but I think that we have a lot of different ways to be able to address things psychologically or emotionally. At a certain point, people may just be who they are and don't change, because that's simply who they are, or they don't want to change, and they choose to be a certain way. So And again, these things develop over time as well. But as far as being born, that's just kind of how I view it. We're not born evil, and we're not born good, plain and simple. So that's kind of the way I view it. I'm just curious. I wanted to share that and maybe see what your thoughts are too. It's a very interesting thought, and I love that sort of thing too. Just as far as like people watching and observing different cultures, like I love that sort of thing too. We're experiencing them, so I think it's really fascinating, like the human condition and what we experience while we're down here. So, anyways, I just wanted to share that, and I hope you found it interesting. And yeah, let me know what you think, and hopefully you enjoyed the video. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.